Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tip Drill Podcast. I'm Reese Holiday, joined as always by Xavier Pereira. Today, Dallas Goedert gets rocked. We'll talk more about that, plus more news. All right, so the first thing that we want to cover today is Dallas Goedert, the tight end from the Eagles, gets rocked and absolutely destroyed in this video. He was at a restaurant in South Dakota late on Friday night. He went to the hospital but was later released just fine, and it's hilarious. So I wanted to ask you, Xavier, have you ever seen a man hit the floor harder than this guy?
No. No. Maybe some UFC matches I've seen where but
He got rocked.
he got rocked.
He got rocked.
Yeah, he got.
To his defense,
Lord.
though, I mean, he wasn't really expecting it. The guy came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah,
The guy
this
came
was
out of
a
nowhere.
completely dirty shot.
Yeah, it was a cheap shot. And Dallas Goedert's a big man. He's an NFL tight end. He's not a small guy. So I mean, he got destroyed, and I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
No offense to Dallas Goedert. I'm glad he's fine, but it's hilarious.
Yeah. Because he's okay, I feel like we can joke around about it. If he was in the hospital, it'd be like, uh-oh.
Yeah, it'd be a little worrisome, but I mean, he's fine. So. All right, completely switching gears now. We're gonna talk about the Chargers and their move for Colin Kaepernick. So it was reported by ESPN's Jeremy Fowler that NFL execs put Colin Kaepernick as a good fit for the Chargers. It could potentially help Justin Herbert and his development if Colin Kaepernick is signed and potentially could be a backup. So would this be a good move for the Chargers, do you think?
If the Chargers my problem with this is I would love to see him in Los Angeles. It'd be so cool to see him double up with Tyrod Taylor and Justin Herbert. He's going to demand a lot of money, though. I feel like regardless of where he gets signed, I feel like it's not going to be some major deal, but it's going to cost him a pretty penny. And with the Chargers going in the bottom of their division, I feel like he's going to be worth too much. I feel like there's other positions of need that the Chargers have that would suit them way better than a quarterback. They already got two. Tyrod Taylor, of course, signed in free agency, and then Justin Herbert in the draft. I feel like for the time being, they shouldn't be spending big money on positions they don't need.
Exactly. I agree. I think, although it would be nice to see Colin Kaepernick come back to the league, and I have no doubt that he could sort of come back to that form that he once was at, it may seem like a silly move for the Chargers. Having three quarterbacks that all can battle it out could help develop Justin Herbert, maybe even develop Tyrod Taylor, but they definitely have more positions of need that they need to focus on rather than getting another quarterback, even though Colin Kaepernick will sign on or may sign on for a cheaper deal than most other free agent quarterbacks. Now some more free agent news, not really free agent news, but some moving of the teams for players is Jamal Adams requests a trade from the Jets. This is not an ideal situation for the Jets. Obviously, Jamal Adams, a prolific safety, one of the best in the league. He revealed the 7 teams that he wants to be traded to, that he wants the Jets to trade him to, and that's the Ravens, the Cowboys, the Texans, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the 49ers, and then the Seahawks. So even in a video, a fan suggested that he should go to the Cowboys, and he responded saying,
"Hey, what's up, bro? Hey, you coming to Dallas? All right."
So does he go to the Cowboys, and would this be a good move for the Cowboys?
Before that, I have to say that we haven't had such a major defensive player like this blockbuster trade since about, I would say Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
This is crazy to me.
And Khalil didn't even want to be traded.
Exactly.
There wasn't they just sent him off.
And the fact that the Jets are letting this go, regardless of how much he's asking for, this is a one-of-a-kind player. And if Dallas manages to get Jamal Adams, I feel like that weak Dallas defense that we have, I wouldn't say weak. I would say disappointing Dallas defense that we have, because they do have some playmakers on that side of the football. With Leighton Vander Esch and Jamal Adams at the helm of that defense, it's going to be pretty nasty.
Mm-hmm.
If they manage to acquire the trade because the Jets are obviously going to be asking for a first-round draft pick, probably even 2. It's if teams want to pay up for this talent they have. Again, Jamal Adams is young. He's talented. He's proven. He's a leader, and he's going to cost you money. That's it. If the Jets can't put up a pretty penny for him after paying for Le'Veon Bell, he's asking for a lot.
Yeah, some other team is definitely going to try to pick him up and pay him that contract that I think he deserves.
Definitely.
That he can just, he's got a nose for the ball. He's got a lot of traits that safeties just don't have. He's always around the play at all times, pretty much, it seems like. So definitely a great safety, not an ideal situation, not a good situation from the Jets at all. They're probably going to lose one of their, if not best player on the team. So maybe they're in rebuild mode now if Sam Darnold doesn't work out. Who knows? The Jets are just kind of, I think they're dysfunctional at this point, but who knows what happens. So speaking of the Cowboys, on the offensive side of the ball, Dak is planning to sign his franchise tender this Monday, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. And the two sides now have until July 15th in order to get a big deal done, if they want a big deal done before the 2020 season. So will Dak be playing in a different jersey next year, even though he is signed on for the franchise tag?
What Dak Prescott, there's both sides are at fault here. What Dak Prescott fails to realize is that, in my opinion, there are better quarterbacks in the free agent market that are better than Dak Prescott. So even if he becomes a free agent next year, there's a line, and he's gonna have to wait. From what I hear, it's because he wants a 4-year deal, and ownership and the Dallas Cowboys want a 5-year deal. Now, to fault the Dallas Cowboys, you have overpaid 2 positions, Ezekiel Elliott and Jalen Smith. Those 2 positions, in my opinion, and not really in my opinion, as a fact, are less important than the quarterback position. 100%. Why are you not paying him? Why are you paying a running back, what is it, $20 million a year? And why are you paying Jalen Smith all this money? I can't remember his contract. But you don't want to pay your quarterback. Your quarterback, who have you stated that is your guy, you want. You signed Andy Dalton. Of course, it was a cheap deal, but that's money that could go to resolving this problem, because it's a problem. If you don't have your franchise quarterback, it's a problem. So I don't understand. Dak really needs to realize that what he has in Dallas is a good deal. They're trying to fix a team around him. And what the Dallas Cowboys need to realize is that their QB1 is about to jump ship.
It's definitely worrisome for both sides, I think. On the Cowboys side, you're going to lose your franchise quarterback. It's kind of a situation where Dak fits. He works in Dallas. As much speculation as everyone talks about how he's not an elite quarterback or not even a good quarterback at best, he fits in Dallas, and they've won games with Dak, which is important to note. And like you said, for Dak's side, he's got to realize what he has in Dallas and that it is working. And that even if he doesn't get this deal in Dallas, no other team is going to pay him the contract that he's asking for. If any team in the league is going to pay him the contract that he's asking for, it's going to be Dallas. And even then, they're still not budging. So Dak's got to realize that he's not going to get the money that he wants. And he's going to have to take what he gets in Dallas, I think, if he wants any more success in the NFL. Because that might be the best situation that's in store for him, is where he's at right now. And so the last piece of NFL news that we want to cover, more quarterback news, but not really contract talks. This is where new Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa said in a Dolphins Instagram video that his celebrity crush is former superstar singer, world-renowned talent Shania Twain. And she responded to Tua with a little kissy face emoji. So Tua may be getting lucky down in Miami. Now I want to ask you, Xavier, can Tua pull? Because he's already got Shania Twain, so can he pull these bitches?
Tua got some game out there in Miami. If there's any place that you would want to be, it'd be Miami. Mm-hmm. Miami or New York, and I'd prefer Miami.
Yeah.
So he's like Snoop Dogg said, it's the land of milk and honey, man.
Oh man. So no, Tua polls. So more talk about Tua. Instead of talking about his pickup game, we're going to be talking about is he a good fit for the Dolphins or not. So X, I'm gonna let you start.
What scares me about Tua is he reminds me of Cam Newton in a sense that it's again with Cam Newton it's his shoulder and his elbow, but with Tua it's his hip, and with one of the key factors of his game being a mobile quarterback, he needs to learn how to not take a hit because that's what's gonna mess him up. I feel like if he did have that possible was it baseball right, so he knows how to play it and he knows how to slide. That's what quarterbacks fail to realize, that they shouldn't be taking hits. But what really scares me is that I think they're moving on from Ryan Fitzpatrick obviously because of the signing of Tua. I feel like their Dolphins, if the Dolphins don't play their cards right, Tua's going to be playing this season. And if Tua plays this season, he's going to want to perform. And when Tua, or when a rookie, or when a first-time starting quarterback wants to perform, they're going to do things that they don't usually do. And I feel like Tua's going to get out of the pocket because, yes, you beefed up your offensive line, but it's mediocre at best at this point because it's unproven and it didn't work last year. I feel like he's going to get out of that pocket. He's going to try and take a hit. And it's with these new NFL rules, you can't aim high. You got to aim low. He's going to aim for the hip, and then he's going to be down. And then that's a season, 2 seasons blown out of the water because he's trying to show that what he's got is what Miami wants. I feel like if he stays healthy, if he stays with a team built around him, yes, it'll work. But looking at what rookies do and looking at what, especially one of the big media capitals in the nation, Miami, I feel like there's going to be putting pressure on not only Tua, but I feel like it's going to be on Ryan Fitzpatrick. And when Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's good for a couple games and then he disappears for the rest of the season. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of Fitzmagic disappearing and then Tua is going to tank in the hospital because he's got a broken hip.
I agree. I think Tua, it's risky for Tua to start this season, especially me being a Dolphins fan. I don't want to see him on the field that much this season. Definitely want to see what he has, but don't really want to see him on the field that much. But like you said, fuck my pen. But like you said, Miami is definitely a popular place, and for Tua to have all that pressure on him, maybe the Dolphins do start him. Maybe they want to see what he's got. I just don't think that's the right plan for the Dolphins. I think he is a good fit for the Dolphins, but just not this year. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick should start the whole season, maybe let Tua play a few downs if they're getting blown out or they're doing the blowing out. Doubtful, but who knows. So Tua, he's a good fit for the Dolphins, especially with the system that they have. They recently signed a run-pass option, heavy offensive coordinator. And Tua, obviously in Alabama, was a run-pass option master. Pretty much can fling the ball out on a slant, read the defense really well, go through his progressions really fast, and have a quick trigger finger in order to get that ball out of his hand. But Tua, I believe, is a good fit for the Dolphins. Just not this season. I don't think he should start this season. I don't think he should play that much this season. So we'll have to see what the Dolphins do. But
you have to see what happened in New York. Remember, everyone was saying they're going to do the Kansas City style and stick with Eli for a year, let him train under let Daniel Jones train under Eli. And 2-3 games in the season, they benched Eli for Daniel Jones. It wasn't because he got hurt. It was because he was underperforming. So teams crack under pressure. And because you have a new person and your coaching staff with this limited practice that you have because of the epidemic going on, I feel like there's going to be a lot of room for more pressure to be put onto the coaching staff and the players.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins, the biggest thing that they have to be with Tua is patient, especially with him being a new quarterback in the NFL. and they can't rush him onto the field. That will ruin not only his rookie season, but probably his whole NFL career if he goes out there and gets injured right away. It'd be a bad look for the Dolphins and just a tragic situation for Tua, but we'll just have to see what the Dolphins do. We'll have to see what Tua wants, what he does, but interesting situation. Now, another sort of discussion that I wanted to have with you is Teddy Bridgewater, new quarterback for the Panthers. Is he a good fit in Carolina?
With Teddy, it's interesting because Teddy Bridgewater did amazing with the New Orleans Patriots, New Orleans Saints. He did extremely well while Drew Brees was down, and I give Teddy Bridgewater a lot of credit. But you also have to realize that I feel like with the players they have with the Saints, I feel like any quarterback could really fit in that. And I feel like Drew Brees takes advantage of it, but I feel like any quarterback could do well in that system because of all the powerhouse weapons that they have. It's just there's no fault with them. There really isn't. Like I can't think of anything that's wrong with the Saints. So with Teddy Bridgewater coming up and doing well, it should be expected. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now going to a team like Carolina, I feel like he can do well because of what he's shown with the Saints, but the Saints and the Panthers are on two completely different levels. You have one team that's basically looking like it's in a rebuilding state and a championship caliber team. So I want Teddy Bridgewater to do good. I think he'll do well with Carolina, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I want him to do well. Yes, I think he'll do well, but like I said, we'll have to see.
The one thing I would hate for Teddy Bridgewater to see in Carolina is just him throwing it to Christian McCaffrey every play. Christian McCaffrey is a good running back. He's one of the best in the league. But Kyle Allen showed that didn't work. He tried forcing it to Christian McCaffrey every play, and it worked for several games. They were on a crazy winning streak that no one really expected, especially when Cam went down. But Kyle Allen showed that if you continuously do that and defenses catch on, then you're going to take your number one weapon out of the game, and then who do you have? But they've got some underrated receivers in Carolina. I think DJ Moore. They just signed Robbie Anderson in the offseason. So they could make something happen in Carolina with Teddy. But we'll have to see how that situation works. I like how you mentioned that the Saints, that's just a crazy stacked offense. So it like you said, it's really easy for Teddy to come into that and play really well. But he did make some good throws, make some good plays, which is why I think it's a good situation for Carolina. It's kind of an experiment sort of to see how Teddy plays in Carolina. And if it doesn't, they're probably going to have to draft a quarterback again, because obviously Cam's gone. They lost their franchise guy, and they could be in rebuild mode. But at least they have Christian McCaffrey tenure down, and we'll see what Teddy can do with that. Now, we talked a little bit about this earlier and the whole news side of Jamal and the 7 teams that he could fit into. But I wanted to sort of talk to you about which of those 7 teams do you think Jamal fits best in? Is it the Cowboys? Is it the Seahawks? Is it the Ravens? Let me know what you think.
Well, the obvious answer here is either the Ravens or the Cowboys, because 1, Jamal wants to go to the Cowboys. So he's obviously there and he's in a good mood. He wants to be there, right? Then you can go into the side of the Ravens. Already a really good team, really playoff contender, Super Bowl contender type team. Add Jamal Adams on top of that, I feel like you do really well. One team I see that could possibly do a little bit worse next year, but with this addition of Jamal Adams, do a lot better, is the Seahawks. I see him doing with Jadeveon Clowney leaving Seattle. That is a major blow to that defensive lineup. Jadeveon, I feel like boosted, I wouldn't say commanded, but boosted that defense to do a lot better. That's why they made it to the playoffs. And with a quarterback like Russell Wilson, it's easy to make it to the playoffs. With the addition of Jamal Adams, I feel like I said before, he commands a defense. He demands double teams. He demands presence. Somebody needs to know where Jamal Adams is at all times, 100% of the time on that field because he can blitz, he can cover, and he'll man you up. You just have to realize if you get Jamal Adams on your team, then you don't have to worry about Jamal Adams on the other team. That's why I feel like he'd do extremely well with the Seattle Seahawks. Yes, their defense isn't like top 10, or I wouldn't say top 10. Their defense isn't top 5, of course.
It's not what it used to be.
It's no Legion of Boom, but Jamal Adams, like I said, demands some. You need to know where he is. You need to write it down on your little wristband. Find Jamal Adams. Russell Wilson wouldn't have to do that if the Seattle Seahawks managed to get Jamal Adams.
Yeah, he wouldn't be a problem for the Seahawks. He would actually be a benefit for the Seahawks. That could really sort of tie those pieces together on defense. Not really anyone special in that secondary besides Shaquille Griffin, who had a Pro Bowl season last year. But the addition of Jamal Adams could really tie that defense together and sort of put Seattle at the next level in terms of the top teams in the NFL. But another team that you mentioned that I think is really interesting is the Ravens. If the Ravens somehow end up getting Jamal Adams, that safety tandem with Earl Thomas and Jamal Adams would be the best in the league, no doubt. I think that would be the dumbest safety tandem ever. Well, not ever, but in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And definitely the additions of the boundary cornerbacks with Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, that secondary could be in the conversation for best in the league. So definitely a lot of teams in this pot for Jamal Adams. We don't know where he's going to go, but we know that he wants to see those 7 teams, talk to those 7 teams, and eventually be traded to one of those 7 teams, whether it's the Cowboys, the Ravens, or the Seahawks. But interesting discussion. Definitely just have to see where Jamal wants to go and where the Jets want to trade him to. All right, so our last segment, as always, is our too hot, too cold, just right. Xavier spins the wheel, and then by the team that we get, we determine whether they're too hot, too overrated, too cold, too underrated, or they're just right. So I'll go first again.
All right, let's see who you get this time. The Falcons.
Man. Speaking of the Falcons, those new uniforms are ugly.
Yep.
Oh my God, those are so bad. But I feel like a lot of people have the Falcons sort of in the middle of the pack, sort of the middle bottom. But I think they're too hot in terms of that. I think that they're not going to be good this year. I think that they're going to be leaning towards more of a rebuild mode, especially with the disastrous season, especially the beginning of the season that they had last year. Not really what anyone was expecting, especially with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones on that offense. But we'll have to see where they go in this direction this year and in future years to come. But I think they're too hot with being in the middle of the pack. I think Dan Quinn, it might be on the hot seat this year. Definitely was last year. So I think they're too hot, ranked in the middle of the league because they're going to suck.
All right, let's see what I get. I get the Cowboys. Oh, that's funny. All right. For me, I've been very outspoken about the Cowboys because it's just I've said this so many times on recording and in arguments, just like in person. The Cowboys on paper look deadly. They look like a team that should be making the Super Bowl every single year. They've made it to the playoffs. They've lost in the playoffs. They haven't made an impact at all. 8-8 has become their standard. I don't understand it. There are a lot of people that have them going to the Super Bowl. There are a lot of people that have them going like NFC championships. No, that's way too hot. I feel like if the Cowboys make it to the playoffs, they slide into that 7th place wild card and they make it up. But I don't think they're making it to the NFC championship. It's just I don't see it happening. Just with so much controversy with Dak Prescott coming in and the limited amount of practice and Mike McCarthy, we already know about that the situation back in Green Bay. So we already know quarterback controversy is already on his resume. So it should be interesting to see what Mike McCarthy does. I don't think Mike McCarthy is the answer because of how limited I feel like they had Aaron Rodgers. Yes, they won a Super Bowl, but I feel like towards the end of his career, he became a lot more limited in the play calling. So I don't know. I feel like they Mike McCarthy, I feel like is just gonna make a mistake. I don't know. I feel like the head coach was their problem. They fixed it, but it's more like a bandage. It's not like a weld. in a sense.
It's not a permanent fix.
Exactly.
And I agree. And especially with that drama heavy Dak Prescott, maybe Mike McCarthy can't get him under control and have a good chemistry with the quarterback, which could ruin everything that the Cowboys have built up so far. And they'd be going worse than 8-8 every year, I think. So I also agree. I think they're too hot. People haven't gone to the Super Bowl again. And we learn every year that that's just not the case. They can make all the additions that they want, but it's really all about that kind of chemistry and fitting in together and getting the right players that fit your scheme, I think, for the Cowboys. And they look great on paper, like you said, but I agree. They're too hot. They're not going to do well. All right, so that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed. I definitely enjoyed watching Dallas Goedert get rocked. But he's okay. That's fine. The big news is that he's okay, but it was funny. So we'll see you next week.